Hey, good morning, everybody. It's early mornings at LALATE, the Sunday edition. Did the Saturday crush you? Did you go to the casino, stay up too late, have too much milkshakes? Well, we're at Sunday, and lockdowns have been announced across California. And last night, the news reports here in Southern California said that everyone was rushing to go get their hair done. I can't make it up. Everyone was rushing to get their hair done in San Francisco. I wonder who made the rush. The good news is the hair may be a mess, but the stimulus checks are front and center. Everyone is pushing to get your second stimulus check in the continuing resolution, the budget bill, because there may be no budget for hair salons to do your hair next week, but there may be a budget bill because it has to get done by December 11th. And now Republicans and Democrats on both sides of the aisle and both sides of the hair salon are getting together to agree upon one thing. One, her hair does not look good. Two, to get a stimulus check and a stimulus package. So the good news is that finally people can agree upon something, and to also agree that that color does not work good with the in the House of Representatives. So the important thing to understand as we start the new day is that gossip online that there was an extension of the budget bill deadline is just not true. They didn't extend anything. It's just gossip. But the great news across the board is that states are really stepping up and giving you stimulus checks, hazard pay, rent, food, in cities that they said they had nothing, in states in which we had been waiting around for our stimulus check for 6 months because the states were going bankrupt. Well, apparently they're not only not going bankrupt, they found enough money to give rent stimulus across their entire state starting tomorrow. I'm going to have all these details and more. It's a great Sunday morning. The toast is toasting, the butter is buttering, and the hair salons are packed up. As always, let's get to it on Sundays, early mornings, LALATE. Hey, good morning, everybody. It's early morning to LA, the 6 a.m. edition. I'm so excited you joined me because there's a lot of breaking developments overnight about your second stimulus in the second stimulus package, the CR, the continuing resolution bill. And I want to get you up to date what's in there, the proposals. There's no bill yet, but the proposals, where the negotiations are going, what you should expect tomorrow, what you should be doing today. And then it's important you subscribe because, boy, ultimately these people in Congress, they just move like snails, even when there's a December 11th deadline. Well, I run like a road runner to get you money. And I'm getting viewers money right now, not 5 days from now, not 5 weeks from now, but money right now. And I want you to subscribe. If you're watching this video and not subscribed, do you want thousands of dollars? Well, then subscribe because I'm getting this money for you. It's stimulus, it's rent stimulus, it's food stimulus, it's utility stimulus. And I'm getting viewers $5,000, $10,000, $20,000. One viewer last night had everyone guessing when he said, "Thank you, LA, for getting me $47,000. We were like, 47,000? What? What's the 47,000? Everyone was asking it. I mean, he never explained it. I think it's the idea. But it's just, money just flowing. So I want you to subscribe because I'm fighting to get you this money by the minute, by the hour. Also like this video. Meantime, if you're just joining me for the first time ever, Early Mornings LALATE is always an instant premiere. And on the side here, on the 6 o'clock edition, if you're tuning in when the show premieres, you can watch it as an instant premiere. The instant premiere features a live chat, so you can chat with your power buddies about what type of hair you think Nancy got her haircut at. Do you think Nancy Pelosi was first in line before they announced the lockdown at the hair salon? So you can chat, and it's always the same familiar faces every morning. That's what's really incredible. Great, wonderful group of family of people. And so everyone recognizes each other. And it's like, getting your morning coffee and just saying hello to a familiar face. It's really great way to start the morning. And with that, let's get to the breaking news. The breaking news as you sit here today is that December 11th is still the deadline. It's still the deadline to get the continuing resolution bill, which is the CR or budget bill, done. The budget bill is required to be voted upon by the Senate, voted upon by the House, and signed by the President. Usually that takes at least 3 days. In some circumstances, they can make it a little tighter, but it's 3 days. Well, count December 11th back 3 days. That brings you to December 8th, which is Tuesday. Yeah. And so generally in the last time I reported the CR bill, when the cows got their stimulus, sirloin, yeah, sirloin, last time that happened, they had an agreement about generally what they were going to do before they even wrote the bill. And then they sent it to the House, and the House approved it, and then it landed in the Senate, and the Senate modified it, and then they had to go back and talk another day. The fact that we have really only 4 days, 3 days away, and no one has even agreed to what to agree about is a little problematic. So I expect Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday to just be the Hot Mess Express on on energy drinks. It's just going to ramp up. Do I think it's going to get extended? No, I don't think extending anything suits anyone's narrative. The narrative is you need stimulus right now, so why are we giving you stimulus December 31st or January 1st or January 2nd? And every day the situation across the country pushes the urgency of getting this done faster. ICU capacity ramped up in high numbers. The number of people in the emergency room or internal in ICU capacity ramped up in California. So Southern California is now on lockdown today for the first time ever. Now, it's not the same type of lockdown from March, but it's almost there. And that's the sense of urgency. Wait a second, we really need to do something right now. So what are the deal provisions? What should you expect? What's going on? How about the stimulus check? Let me go over the CR itself. First, there's no bill still. There literally is no bill. There's just a lot of chicken scratch on some napkins from the lobster joint. It's actually just sort of like that. That's all we really have. Someone went on the computer and went, okay, thank you. What is this? It's just my notes. That's all we're working on at the moment. It's Nancy Pelosi once said, we're legislators. We love to legislate. We take months to write. Well, there's no time to write this darn thing because you got to hurry. So the big question is, how fast can they get any agreement on even the provisions? They do have one agreement, and that agreement is extension of unemployment benefits, UI and PUA. PEUC was the federal program created in the CARES Act 1 program to give you additional weeks by the federal government of UI, of unemployment assistance. That program expires in December, so millions of Americans who are on unemployment will lose unemployment come December 31st because there will be no more weeks of coverage if their states don't step up. In the case of PUA, the same thing. It's about to expire. So what are they agreeing upon? They're agreeing upon extending that to the end of January, PUA and UI. Thank goodness. That's a good thing. So what's the great news on Saturday? Well, the great news yesterday was that the Republicans and Democrats from both sides of the aisle, senators and House members said, there's something missing here. Did you notice? Jerry, did you notice? Jess, did you notice there's something? Yeah, there's this stimulus check missing. And they literally came out barking as loud as they can bark. And this was just great news. AOC, Republicans, Sanders, other Republicans, Biden, other Republicans said, what's going on here? Where's the stimulus check in this thing? Who the hell wrote a bill with no stimulus check in it? And now, for the first time ever, another group of people are agreeing upon something. News reporters, for the first time ever, Fox News and CNN can agree upon exactly the same coverage and the same sources, stimulus checks. The same article ran on both news outlets that said, where's the darn stimulus check? Legislators try to get a continuing resolution bill done, but both sides agreeing they've made an error by leaving out a stimulus check. The other thing that's missing is eviction moratorium, because under eviction moratorium, you have no protection after December 31st, and the result is you could be thrown on the street. Yes. So eviction protection, eviction moratorium, and mortgage forbearance, and a stimulus check are needed in this bill. And as I started the campaign yesterday, the problem creators, which is Tom and Jerry, two guys out of New York and New Jersey who are Republicans who do not represent the American people nationally, but only represent the interests of big business and restaurants in New York and New Jersey, think that you can survive as homeless on January 1st with no stimulus check. Maybe that's the case if you own a New Jersey restaurant and gain $2 million of PPP, but it's not the case for everyone else. Yeah, they want to give $2 million to restaurant owners in New Jersey, but they don't want to give you a $1,200 stimulus check after you haven't gotten one for 7 months. How many months has it been? 8 months? 7 months? I'm just losing track. And after they gave PPP not once, twice, 3, but now we're going to 4 times a PPP. Larry Kudlow had a problem with this as well. Larry Kudlow, the voice of reason? Yes. Larry Kudlow is the new voice of reason. Coming up at the 11 o'clock hour. Because Larry Kudlow on Friday said, why don't they repurpose the CARES Act 1 money at SBA? Thank goodness it, Larry. There's $600 billion, according to Larry. I say there's $800 billion, but, he has a different calculator. And he says that can be repurposed, and it should be repurposed. It would be two $1,200 stimulus checks, because we learned on Friday a stimulus check of $1,200 costs about $300 billion. So 2 stimulus checks, $600 billion would use the CARES Act 1 money. Joe Biden wants to make very clear that he is unhappy that there's no stimulus check or eviction moratorium in the bill. It's a little bit confusing if you follow me with this, because at some point, someone told Nancy Pelosi to zip it, because she said she was going to go higher than $900 billion, higher than the moderates, the problem creators bill. And that someone said to her, stop it, because the problem creators said that we're not going to support anything higher than 900, Republicans, of course, as well. And Nancy never did that. She never went higher than 900. Meantime, she supported the $900 bill, which doesn't have an eviction moratorium and doesn't have a stimulus check. And then hours later, Joe Biden came out and says, we need the $1,200 stimulus check is needed, and we need an eviction moratorium. What are we doing here? Interesting. Now, what's coming up after this? This is what's now becoming called the second stimulus package. But in late December, early January, you're going to start to see the bill provisions of the third stimulus package, which will be passed in mid-January. That's going to have, oh my goodness, it's going to have the cake and the side of fries. It's just going to have everything. It's going to have FPUC retroactive. Yeah, the CR does have it in there for one people. I don't think it's going to pass. It's an accounting nightmare. Joe Biden says he's going to give you FPUC retroactive $600 a week from January all the way back to late August, which is 20 weeks at $600 a week, which is $12,000. Across the $12,000. You think Mitch is going to sign that? I don't know. Mitch is going to, see $12,000 per person, just sort of get scared when he sees it. Hazard pay, Joe's going to give you $10,000 on top of the $12,000. Yeah, and then he's going to have a $10,000 EIDL grant coming back. I mean, it's just money, money, money. And then if you didn't get the remainder of the $10,000 grant before, you're going to get that as well. Then there's going to be a CDC grant. And the CDC grant's going to be paid to essential workers, because you're essential, so you need a grant as well. And then there's a Lifeline grant, $50,000. I mean, are you keeping a running tab? How many things you're going to get? How many of these are going to pass the Senate? We'll see on January 5th if the Senate falls to the Democrats or not. But if it doesn't, a lot of these things may never see the light of day. But the big thing that probably will see light of day is the SSI and SSDI. We have about 2 minutes left in this video. I want to go over with you the importance of where that SSI and SSDI is. It has 3 provisions to it, but Republicans and Democrats for years have been writing standalone bills about these things and have not come to an agreement, and this is perceived to be the agreement point. A $200 a month stimulus from January all the way to December of next year. And that would amount to $2,400, upwards of $4,000. Then a step up of unemployment benefits lifetime, up to 20%, with a new benchmark that would raise your benefits every year based upon something other than COLA. I mean, this is all really incredible. Is a stimulus? The $2,400 is stimulus, but the other things are not. It's just basically the operations of how Social Security works. And so hence it's really a Social Security bill. You can just sort of see it called the Social Security Act of 2020 or something like that. It's not a stimulus bill. And so I don't see it being part of the monstrous stimulus bill that Joe Biden is seeking to give to you. Finally, multiple stimulus checks. Crush the MSC. Joe is promising you multiple stimulus checks starting next year. Well, thank goodness someone is. We've been sitting here, and ultimately, I have to fully disclaim that, when I'm reporting to you about the stimulus check and the CR as good news or something, no one in their right mind thinks that $1,200 is sufficient. No one thinks it's a sufficient number. No one thinks that one check is sufficient or that the amount of $1,200 is sufficient. But ultimately, it's something you need now, and it's better than zero. As Bernie Sanders said quite aptly on Friday, there's millions of Americans who don't work, and they're dependent upon this stimulus check. And as economists said a week ago, this is the single most important stimulus instrument because you'll get the money the fastest way. All the other ones, you can get the money a month later, 2 months later. Stimulus check you get within 10 days. If you have questions or comments to today's video, drop them in the comments below. On the 6:30 edition video right after this, I'm going to go over this state stimulus that is already going out and what you should look for in the next few days. Big developments at the 6:30 edition a few minutes from now on the continuation of Early Mornings LA. As always, stay informed, stay smiling, and save LA for more.